Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So last verse 8, it says that every form, right, it said, it used bubbles. So just like every bubble, that means every form arises from the ocean, it's sustained in the presence of the ocean, and it goes into none other than into the ocean, because the ocean is the only thing there is. So the bubble has nowhere else to go. So in that sense, energy has nowhere to go, forms have nowhere to go. In that sense, nothing can ever get destroyed or created. And therefore, in that same manner, all these forms, including energy, if you want to call it strings, that thing behind the forms, whatever it is, it all rises from this one intelligence, no matter what you speak about, what you think about. And this is where the rest is that it really has direct implications in your life, because this means that just think about the implications, knowing that everything arises from the ocean of Ishwara. What is this? What is the implications of this in terms of your real life? How do you carry yourself? What does this mean for you, that everything arises out of the same intelligence? How does this change you? How does this transform you? Or can you see yourself being transformed by this?
Fear of death goes away.
Lovely. Fear of death goes away. How else? Incentive to look at things in the right manner, to continue doing what is to be done, knowing that you cannot escape the consequences. Yes. So in other words, you treat others as Evelina said. Yeah, there's a certain accommodation. Yeah, accommodative attitude towards others. What else? I really want you to answer this. This is so important. Otherwise, we just speak theory. Equanimity. Okay, good. I like that. Yeah, this is nice. So, what does equanimity mean for you? Yeah. So Morita says that I have discernment. Where is my power of? Where is my locus of control, and where is my locus of non-control? And I have that much clarity. Otherwise, you just get constantly consumed by things that we can't really change. So there's a nice prayer from Swami Dayananda. He wrote the book of prayers, I think. And he has a prayer there, Lord, give me the strength to recognize what is it that I can change and not change. And may I spend all of my investment and my energy in those things that I can change. But I first have to know what can I change and not change. So this is a lovely thing you say. Serenity prayer. Right.
Christian tradition also.
Right.
Brings a sense of acceptation.
Acceptance. That means acceptance towards what? More specific. Speak freely. Acceptance.
Good and bad.
As well as bad.
Yeah, good and bad.
Realities.
And of course, knowing if you can do something, of course, you will reach out, right? Okay. What else? I'm going to ask the question again. What are the implications? What does this mean for you now that all that is here is one intelligence? How is this going to potentially manifest in your behavior, in your words, in your speech? When you go home, when you're at the airport, when you're out there during the break, how is this going to touch you? I want to know.
Life becomes a game.
Life becomes
A game.
more of a game now, more fun, right? You know.
Accept things. And then you say you do not master everything in spite of being a CEO on down the ladder.
Good.
Just take life as it comes.
Good, because
No stress.
yeah.
Our hospitals will get emptied. Wonderful.
Because you are uniquely placed within Ishwara's order. And that much I can accept. Usually we want to be somebody else, and that somebody else wants to be somebody else, and that somebody else wants to be somebody. Stop. I am placed, I am who I am, I've got weaknesses, I've got strengths, I've been given this body, these kinds of weaknesses and strengths. Of course there's a lot more things that I want and that you probably want, but this is the fact. The time to dream is over. Kids, oh, I want to be this, I want to be that, I want to be the greatest. You know how life is. It gives you what it gives you. So I'm not saying stop asking, I'm just saying know where our strengths are and being happy with that and making the most use out of that.
Yeah, there's a matter of trust as well. Trust everything comes as it comes and goes as it goes.
Yeah, so this too can alleviate the sense of anxiety. This has to stay, and when a relationship is time to go, someone close to you goes away. I can first thing, in fact, someone close to me, one of my best students, I shouldn't say that, but he was the greatest student I've ever had in my life. He was so sharp, so smart. He was a teacher himself of philosophy, and I just never met anyone like that. He was around 65. And I was so proud to have him as my student because he's just top of the top. And he wants to constantly discuss Vedanta, which I don't have nowadays, anyone is that enthusiastic. He wants to know every term. He's asking me questions constantly, giving me also the opportunity to look into myself if I even know these complex questions. He's trying to link Western philosophy, Eastern philosophy, because he's a philosopher himself of the West, Plato, Aristotle. And I'm going, wow, I'm loving this conversation. Constantly SMSing me to ask me questions, and I'm gladly, answering because it's just a perfect student-teacher relationship. And one day he asked me, it was a morning, and he says, Andre, I feel like I'm in a constant meditation because I've been studying, this Vedanta so long. Like, do I need to meditate even? And I said to him, yes, because meditation is part of deepening this knowledge. We're not taking meditation out. I meditate every day, morning and evening. And he took those words seriously, like many words he took. He took everything I said seriously. And he said, okay, tonight I will begin to meditate again, because he was also a meditator. And he stopped during the Vedanta, but I said, hey, meditation is part of it. In fact, we will do meditation here. That evening, he went into an eternal meditation. Yeah, that's how it happened. In the morning, he said that. In the evening, he was gone. So he's right. I will begin to meditate again. And I missed him, and I still do. And I wish he was here. So this is how it is. And I cried for 3 days, on and off. What kept me going? It's called chapter 12, Karma Palatyaga. Everything that comes is coming from the laws. It played its part, it played its chapter. I had fun with him, but Ishwara takes away anything from you. And you have to understand, it's not personal. It's neither fair nor unfair. It is all work of Ishwara. That kept me strong. One single principle from the Bhagavad Gita, renouncing results to the order. Karma Palatyaga, chapter 12, that's what we're studying. So this is the question that I'm asking. How will this play out in your life when these situations come? This man was closer to me than my own mom and dad. And I was at his funeral doing chapter 15, chanting with my friend, who's also my student.
It's not personal, maybe?
It's not personal. Yeah, it's not personal. Yeah, and that kept me going. Oh, I'm being punished. Oh, I have the best student and he's gone. How could you? No, you have to be so careful. This is the time to bring knowledge in. The perfect time to bring knowledge in, deliberately. I asked myself, how can I look at this situation in the light of the Bhagavad Gita? Refuse to drop back into my old patterns. Oh, why? Refuse to. That means it's an active process. It's practice. That means intellect has to remain at least a little bit there while the emotions are high. Never letting that intellect go. in order to start to draw some teachings and reinterpret the situation through the teachings. That's where transformation happens. And because of that situation, once he died, something in me just started to stir up, something so much freer. I felt freer. That's because the whole transition was in the light of knowledge. So whatever happens during these crises, how you interpret that is the kind of person that makes you, the kind of person you become. That's how important crises are. Whether it's the death, whether it's a breakup, whether it's a friend leaving you, everything is an opportunity to deepen yourself into this knowledge. That's why I'm not about theory, practical. Practice, practice, practice. I've heard too much theory in the head. It's like, you're not even here. You're just in the head. Come here. This is Ishwara. It's all about coming here now. It was always about, as I said yesterday, making love to God, which is nothing but yourself. Okay. Now, verse 9, it says, all beings are in Brahman. Satchidatmani anusyute nitye vishnau prakalpitaha. Vyaktayaha vividhaha sarva hatake kartakadivat. So far we have talked about the nature of who you are, Atma, awareness, the invariable presence through and through all changing phenomena, which is known to you always as I am. We've done that through Drikdarsha Prakriya, recognizing that your mind goes through how many changes? How many changes does your mind go through every day? According to science, which I doubt, I think it's much more, 60,000 changes. It's probably a lot more. Yeah, it's one day. Because see, just to see this curtain, your mind is now this curtain. To see this light, my mind is now this light. Now, just to sweep my eyes across the room, so many changes to the mind has happened. And yet, I know that I am while my mind is now changing. I know that I am all throughout. So now, do you experience yourself changing 60,000 times? That will be chaos. No matter what happens, you experience, you know yourself to be a conscious being throughout these 60,000 changes. Therefore, we have talked about the nature of who you are, awareness. We have talked about the nature of Ishwara, which is all knowledge, all power. And we have talked about the real nature of Ishwara, which is awareness. Okay. Now, verse 9 wants to talk about another teaching on Maya. And this is important because it's going to answer a question, which is if Brahman is unchanging awareness. Listen to the question. If awareness is unchanging, never undergone any change whatsoever, then how does a changing universe come from an unchanging cause? Otherwise, it's just a contradiction. Okay? So, verse 1 to 9 talks about, we're at verse 9 now, the crux of Vedanta. So we're now slowly coming out of the, verse 9 will be the last, and everything after verse 9 will be just finer details. We have laid the ground foundation so far, and everything else will just, add layer after layer after layer. Okay. So, I talked about the material cause. Material cause. So I'm just going to erase this. It's probably not going to be on the camera. So just okay, material cause. All right, and we call this upadana. Upadana. And cause is karana. Karana. Okay. Now this material cause is further split into two categories. Why am I going through this methodology? To answer the question if Brahman is the causeless cause, the adhisthana of everything, and is changeless, never undergoes any change whatsoever, has no attributes, then how do you have a world come of attributes? How does attributes come out of a no attributes cause? How does a changing world come out of a non-changing substance? This is being answered. To answer this, since Brahman is the material of all things, the substance, now this substance is divided into two, maybe black is better, you see this better, right? Is divided into two kinds of causes. I have to write from here. One is parinami. Actually, I'm going to start with this one. Vivarta, this is where Sanskrit words are important because I have no English equivalent. Vivarta upadana karanam. Okay, so Vivarta upadana karanam. So you already know what upadana karanam means, material cause. So it's just a matter of understanding what is Vivarta. And the other word is parinami. Parinami. Vivarta. So Vivarta upadana karanam and parinami upadana karanam. Okay. Now Vivarta upadana karanam means, an example is of gold. So you take a block of gold or whatever, a chunk of gold, and you can transform it and create many things out of it. Okay? You can create a figurine, a box, a ball, a shape, a car, or whatever. But all throughout, has gold undergone any change? The essence of gold? No. Therefore, gold in that sense becomes Vivarta upadana karanam. It seems to change, it appears to change, but the essence of gold is gold. Whether it's a car, it's still gold. Whether it's a man, it's still gold, all throughout. Therefore, we'll put here gold. And the example and the category of Vivarta is Brahman, or awareness. Awareness. So awareness, without undergoing any change, becomes the substance of your thought, becomes the substance of this air you're breathing, becomes the substance of the cloud that is moving, without undergoing any change. How do you know this? Because when you have a thought, where's your awareness? In that thought. The thought can change, but my awareness is, there's always awareness in every thought. So the thought is different, made out of awareness. Another thought is completely different from that one, made out of awareness. They're all made out of awareness, and yet awareness remains awareness. Okay. Now, parinami upadana karanam is, for example, of milk and curd or butter. Okay? So, what do you have to do to create butter or curd? What do you have to do with the milk? You've got to do some churning process, right? So what happens is when you churn the milk, you end up with the effect, which is the butter or the curd. So what happened? I no longer see the original cause. In this case of gold, the cause is there. But with the parinami, the cause I no longer see. It's overshadowed by the effects. So this example is of Ishwara. I'll say all knowledge, all power. All knowledge and power, or Ishwara. Now, so this means that Ishwara, being intelligence, is being parinami upadana karan. That means a material cause. So Ishwara is a material cause which is constantly reorganizing and reshuffling itself to appear as the effects that we are experiencing right now. However, the only difference between milk and curd and Ishwara is that milk and curd, it's gone. There's no connection. But with Ishwara, always remains intelligence, no matter what it transforms into. So the reason why we're using this is to show you that why do you not see intelligence right now? Because Ishwara is parinami. That means the intelligence is still here, but you're looking at intelligence. You're looking at intelligence. So you only see the effects of intelligence. You don't see intelligence itself. If Brahman is changeless and actionless and attributeless, so changeless, attributeless, okay, actionless, all these three. You are changeless, you are attributeless, and you are actionless. You never move the day of your life. If Brahman is all that, then why do we have an action-full world, attribute-full world, change-full world? So, to answer this, we'll use a simple analogy. Let's take an example of your dream. Your dream, when you dream, your mind has the capacity to manifest a world. And when it does manifest the world, it's going to be very real and very engrossing, very involving, very engaging, very interacting. And you're going to cry in this world, and you're going to get scared, and you're going to make friends in this world. You're going to have parties, you're going to jump from airplanes, you're going to go to classes, you're going to go out of classes, you're going to feel tired in this world. And other times you're going to feel sick in this world. And other times you're going to feel healthy in this world. All of this is created by your own power. And you find yourself one of these characters in your own dream who now sees oneself as different from everything else. And I, different one, have to interact with objects for my satisfaction, and other objects also have to interact with me for their satisfaction. So from one standpoint, I see myself as a small person, totally convinced that I am just a small being, that I am the subject and everything else is the object. My own dream did this. Your own dream had the power to fool you. You bought into it, and you spend a whole lifetime doing what is to be done in the dream. Now, can the dream exist without you? No. So when this potential of yours to manifest a dream manifests the world, then you become Ishwara for that dream. You become God of that dream. Why? Because what do we say about Ishwara? Material cause and efficient cause. Because the whole world is intelligently put together. There are people, there are faces that are familiar, there are laws, there are things that are working together. But also there's material. I'm walking inside the dream. I am speaking to a person. I can't go through a wall. That means there's a certain law that's being manifested that disallows matter from going through another matter. Even though the whole thing is just intelligence, out of my own potential, it's all happening. So I become, in reference to the dream, the creator of that dream. But do I know that inside the dream? No. I see myself as what? As a small person who is struggling for my own happiness, to find the creator. And then I find other people in the dream, and we have discussions, group discussions. And we say, who's the creator? My name is Mr. G, Mr. A, Mr. K, Mr. S, all these names. And we all have ideas who the creator is, how the creator is, how he operates in this world. Sometimes we start a whole group and it grows and religions start to form. And then we start to have fights, all talking about, figuring about who is the cause of this huge world. And then we brand it. We want to brand the creator. put a name onto it, sell it as a package, make money. And there's someone in that dream that understands the nature of the dream. And they too are doing the same thing as everyone else, but they bring us together and they say, hey, this dream, you are the cause of this dream. You, the one that's seeking for the creator, you are the very cause of this. What are you talking about? Well, let me put you down in a seat with some tapas, some discipline, so you can actually sit, because most are not going to sit. They're still fighting over who's the real creator, creating philosophies, comparing who's better, who's got it figured out, who's kind of lost. There's still these spiritual policemen. Let me seek for the truth. Call it spiritual policemen. Looking for who's really figured out, who's wrong. And yet the very policeman, the spiritual policeman, just to be doing that implies I haven't figured it out. Because the whole point is to be at peace, not to be out there wronging others, ticking who's right or wrong. So you become the creator of the dream, the cause of the dream. Everything is you. There is no place where you are not. You are in the good, the bad, and the ugly, all throughout. And then you start to listen to the methodology, which comes from you, because you are the cause of the dream. And this methodology shows you that Satyamitya, for example, Drigdarsha Viveka, and it puts a poster up called Thonsea Health Center Seminar. And then we come, and then you see yourself in the form of a teacher, you see yourself in the form of yourself, you see yourself in the form of students. Everything's different. You see differences, and yet all that is here is you. You are the cause of all of this. And then the verse continues, and you listen intently, and it says, let's see. How does this then apply to Sat and Chit? Because we'll just apply this to your dream, we have to apply this to the whole thing now. So in the verse, it says that Sat and Chit, the final reality, has the potential to manifest this universe. So awareness has the potential, just like you have a potential to manifest the dream world, awareness has a potential to manifest this very universe, this very time and space and material that you and I are experiencing right now. And the nature of this potential that is manifest has to be knowledge and power. Why? Because everything you see in this universe is intelligently put together. There's knowledge and there's power. Knowledge is constantly and actively putting itself together to manifest as a bud, as a, the first sprout, and then this fruit, and then the trunk. All along the way, at every intervening factor, I see intelligence. So the cause, that potential, has to thus logically be of the nature of knowledge and power.
What is the power of that?
And this power in Sanskrit we call it wow in potential, we call it Maya, which is another name. It's still knowledge and power. I've not changed knowledge and power. I've just changed name from potential into manifest. Now, if it's called Maya, so if that potential knowledge power is called Maya, can you call Maya the cause of the universe while it's still in potential? No. Therefore, only when it manifests this time, space, and universe that you're experiencing, only then that same knowledge and power gains a new name called Ishwara. Ishwara. Okay, so this is knowledge, power, all throughout. Knowledge, power, nothing has changed. So why all these names? Just to help you understand the whole big picture, you have to attribute different names. There's no other reason for that. Now, in this manifestation, what happens? You happen. one of the individuals is born in the world, according to its karma, on a different continent, with different parents, with different religions, and then has to play out its part. So a jiva is born. Now, as I said in the last session, this same knowledge power, while in potential, is called Maya. When it actually manifests time and space, that's called the Big Bang in science, then we call it Ishwara. That's one way to understand the word Ishwara. The second way to understand Ishwara is when awareness, okay, so what's the name for awareness? We just call it Brahman. Brahman or Atma. Brahman or Atma. Okay, these are all just, why so many names? Why not just call it Brahman, Brahman, Brahman? Because you get so bored. That's how human beings are. We have to keep changing names, otherwise the person's going to tune out. That's why we've got hundreds of names for, not hundreds, but dozens of names for consciousness and for Ishwara, and right? The Upanishads have to be creative to keep you entertained, to keep you tuned in. Anyone who studies learning or teaches knows that if you keep on repeating the same concepts, what's going to happen? You're going to tune out. Okay? So this is one reason. So Atma, Brahman, Sat Chit, it's all awareness. Now, while awareness is producing by the power of its mind, not that it's producing, but while this power is activated, okay, that same Brahman is now called Ishwara. You see this? So you can either call manifest knowledge power Ishwara, or you can call awareness, while there's a world, while there's a manifest world, you can call awareness also Ishwara. This is why sometimes people get confused, like, but all there is here is Ishwara. No, all there is here is Brahman. I hear that very often. No, you have to understand the Upanishads have different ways of looking at things. They're not contradicting, they just want to help you see the glass is both half full and half empty. That's called objectivity. The more views you have about this teaching, the more relaxed you are. The more you can relax. Like, they're all just talking about the same thing from different standpoints.
So Brahman, Ishwara, Maya, no difference.
No, there is a difference. I mean, from model one. So see, this is where you have to get specific. So, knowledge power, unmanifest equals Maya. Manifest equals Ishwara. Both of them are mithya, depending upon Brahman. Okay, that's model one. Okay? Or you can just call Brahman Ishwara, because you're not excluding. Wherever there is mithya, that's exactly where Satyam is. Wherever there is pot, that's exactly where the clay is. Okay? The only danger that I see in the in this Vedantic world is when people say, all that is here is Brahman. Can you objectify Brahman? You can't objectify awareness, because everything, you are awareness. So it tends to, in my kind of observation, tends to sometimes exclude Ishwara, tends to exclude the world, because it's like, just here is Brahman, but you skip the laws, you skip the forms, you skip everything. So what I like about Swami Dayananda's tradition is he says, in fact, in Manjakudi, right? There's a nice sign. All that is here is Ishwara. That includes everything. It includes forms, it includes laws, and the truth of that Ishwara is awareness. So that's why I say usually all that is here is Ishwara. Yeah. Okay. Now, I've used an example of a seed. Yeah?
That gives a understanding that all that is Ishwara means when we tell Ishwara is mithya, that misunderstanding will be there.
Yeah, but see, wherever there's mithya, that's where satyam is. So this is their misunderstanding. There's no such thing as mithya. There's no such thing as... Is there a thing called pot here? Is there a thing called pot here?
Yes and no.
Okay, good. You have to think before just saying yes or no. Glass is both half full and half empty. Thinking right through, I have to see all layers. There is a pot, but also the truth of the pot is clay, the truth of the clay is da-da-da-da-da-da, all the way to the final reality. So ultimately, this is Brahman. This is ultimately awareness. Okay? I can also say this is Ishwara, which doesn't exclude awareness. So I'm not going to tell you what to say, but think about it.
It's also why these kind of texts like Ashtavakra Gita, it's very radical. He's cutting off everything. And they're popular in Vedanta. Like Ashtavakra. Well, if you read his text, all these concepts, he's throwing away all of these concepts.
Really? They're all thrown away?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Okay, so you go straight to the knowledge.
It's also denying. I mean, this is from like a testimonial from the.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And, but it's also very popular in Vedanta.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know what's inside. Yeah, I've never felt it. I never felt attracted to study it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ashtavakra Guru teaching Janaka.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just didn't feel. So it just skips all this. I mean, it.
Yeah, it actually does, but it's more like, you should understand. It's just saying, this is the experience of being,
Right.
consciousness. It's
But see,
more
the
than-
thing, yeah.
More direct, you can say.
Yeah.
But see, it's also who teaches it. If someone else is teaching it, you could teach it direct, or you could teach it. I mean, this is also direct, but I'm putting so much stuff that's not in the verses. You see, so it doesn't matter what text you teach. It's always going to be forms, knowledge, Brahman. It's always going to be that order. Trust me, I've taught this. It's always going to be that order, just to save you the time. So one doesn't have to get lost in so many texts. They're just different stories, different, appealing to different personalities,
Different ways of explaining.
different ways of explaining.
At last they come into that, as you told, the gist is same.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same. So that's the glory of this tradition. It offers you so much opportunity. Okay, so how, we used an example, how does this potential, how do we demonstrate this potential going into manifest? And we use the example of a seed. Okay, so inside the seed there is potential, and every little microsecond that potential is constantly shaping and shifting to obtain as a plant or something. So in that sense, and what happens? It produces fruits with nutritional value, colors, and branches and leaves, and how to communicate. How deep would the roots go, and how much would the tree go to the ground to hold itself against the strong wind? Okay, all of this has to be accounted for inside that seed. Could you do that? It's amazing, such a small thing. It has more intelligence than all of us put together. Yeah, this is Ishwara. Ishwara's glory, Ishwara's work. Okay, and another example of this, can someone else give me an example of this potential turning into manifest? There's another example in Vedanta where potential intelligence manifests, goes for potential into manifest.
When you are in deep sleep and then you...
Excellent. See, when you're in your deep sleep, where's all of that intelligence and that potential to manifest a dream that is about to come in a couple of minutes? Where is it? Absolutely nowhere. It's in potential. In fact, it's not that it's nowhere, it's in potential. That's where it is. So in the deep sleep, it suddenly produces this complex, amazing world full of color. Now, how do you know that Maya was there before the universe came? Because there was no one there to document this. There was no time and space. There was no one there witnessing it from a perspective. How do you prove this right now, that Maya was there before time and space came? Otherwise, it's just a belief. Yeah, Maya was there, but how? How do I show that? I mean, science can't show it. They can only show what they perceive and infer.
effects, you see the effects now, and you infer that there have been something in potential now manifest.
Good, right on. So what Jen said was that you need to look at what you got right now. What do you have right now? You have an intelligent creation that's constantly reorganizing itself. So this, now where can you not find that intelligence? Nowhere. Where can you not find intelligence? Not only can you not find intelligence in things that are constantly rearranging themselves, but at the same time, where was COVID from the standpoint of 2015? Where is 5 minutes from now? It's in potential. When 5 minutes from now happens, what's happened then? Maya has turned into Ishwara. So it's not like Maya was once upon a time. It's constantly, even right now, Maya Ishwara, Maya Ishwara, Maya Ishwara. You can't kind of categorically put there's only one and there's the other. The moment it manifests, it unmanifests. That's how changes happen. So right now what you're witnessing is this intelligence constantly manifesting and unmanifesting so fast that it completely evades us. Okay? And this universe is how old is this universe? I mean, 14.5 billion years old, right? And how old have we already been in this universe? Maybe 4.5, 4.5. Earth, but that's just the universe, 13.5 or 14, and Earth about 4.5 or something. How many more years, billions of years, is it going to go? Many, many, many. So this is only a fraction of potential that we're seeing. Only a fraction. Nothing. One little world. So much more to come. So can you access this potential? No. You have to wait. But no one's going to be around. Therefore, this potential has so much more to give us. And where is, depending what story will play out, what story will play out that is yet to come, that story will be connected to our story today. So we are affecting billions of years ahead. That's what the potential is going to be. So what are we experiencing right now? We're experiencing potential unfolding of those who have introduced causes into the field billions and billions of years ago in other cycles of creation. We are now experiencing a taste of that. Why do we look like this? Why are our faces like this and not, why are we not taller? Unless you're from Dutch, from Netherlands, right? Why are you not shorter? Why do we look, are we going to remain like this for the next 1 billion years? No. Even our own faces is going to significantly change. How we are, how we look. Sometimes the jaw is more pronounced, sometimes backwards, bigger head, bigger shoulders. We don't know. But it is already in the progress. And nobody has access to that. We could have never imagined that we human species would look like this from the standpoint of Neanderthals or even those before them. But this is the final product. So the potential is constantly delivering new results, new results, new results, and then unmanifesting them to deliver new. And we are contributing to that potential constantly.
Under in the universe gets destroyed. If there's a new God, the pralaya as we call it, universe is created, it's destroyed.
Created and destroyed. That's happening constantly, even this very second. And even when there's a macrocosmic dissolution, then there's just no time and space. It's just one awareness, one awareness. Just like right now, you're one conscious being, but where is your dream right now? Where is your dream right now? In potential. Do you know what's going to come? No. In fact, you can kind of infer, based on your life, based on the knowledge that you have about your life, that is going to come. So because you carry impressions about your life, those impressions are going to work themselves out in the dream. Now, if you take all of the impressions of everyone's contributions, what kind of a dream do we have? What kind of a world do we have? This kind of a world. This is a collective impressions of all people. Okay? So like that, constantly in the universe, manifests and manifests, manifests and manifests, manifests and manifests. And it's never stopping. Now, from the standpoint of those who are no longer with us here, only we are aware of this. They, if you can call it they are awareness. They're the very awareness that you are right now. But from their standpoint, if it's kind of a limiting language to say from their standpoint, there's no world. There's only a world for you and I still. And we have to live this world out, because this is Maya's constant projection. We have to live this for a while until you too drop your body. So even if you're wise and you know your reality, you still see forms. That means you still have to go through your life and work your stuff out until one day the body is dropped. And then there's no more forms. I now remain as the limitless one. I remain as Ishwara and Brahman. So what is the scriptures showing you ultimately? That it's not like once upon a time. Scriptures are showing you everything is here now. Forms are here. Potential is here. Ishwara is here. Awareness is here. What is not here? You see that? That's the vision of oneness. So then what is missing if everything is here? How do I find these three? How do I find potential, Ishwara, and awareness? I need the scriptures. Without that, I have no access to. So the scriptures simply point out all realities are right here, right now. So there's nothing to look for, there's nothing to sort of chase and look for, and I want something different. Because whatever different you want, what's the nature of that which you want? It's intelligence, which is just here right now. Imagine beings come from different galaxy, right? And they say, we are intelligent. We are a million years ahead of you. Are you going to be surprised?
No.
Why not?
Everything is possible.
Suppose they come, the ship opens and the Vedanta class, right? And we are way ahead of you technologically. We've got all of the achievements. You are just small people. What would you say?
You also intelligence, we also intelligence.
Done. You see? So your fascination for other world, it just ends. What will I find over there? It's just same intelligence reorganizing itself to obtain as a nice heaven. It's still intelligence. As this world. Now you're not trying to kind of deliberately not disinterested in the world. You just understand it's intelligence. So there's not much to sort of kind of chase because it's all here right now. Potential, Ishwara, and awareness is right here, right now. And you're not away from that. You never were away from that. Even now as you're listening to this, it is all here now. And you're just temporarily one of the manifestations. Your body, mind, one of the manifestations for a short while. You got to live this out. No problems there. Drop this body. Problem has been solved. Why? Because the pramana came into your life. By the grace of God, it came into your life.
That is why these lokas don't have importance in Advaita.
Lokas. It's interesting for most, but do you want to travel? Travel to better lokas? Like a rocket, Once the fuel runs out, we fall right back down. In fact, you and I could have been in a heaven already. One of us spent maybe 1 million or 5 million years there. How was it? How was heaven? You see, nobody remembers. And yet, the life that got me to heaven, I was like, heaven, it's all that matters. Heaven, 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 heaven. No, I don't want advaita. I don't want this. Heaven, heaven, heaven. I got heaven. I stayed there for 5 million years. It was bliss. And now I don't even remember it. Wow. That's the samsara chakra. So finally, when all these three come to you, you stop the search permanently. Okay. Now I'm going to close, and I want us to answer the question 8 and 9. Okay. I'm going to close, and then we can answer. Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.